to another episode of the Creative Spin Podcast. Buckle up, you're in for a show.
Welcome to another Creative Spin Podcast, and today my guest is, funny enough, my first guest in the Creative Spin Podcast that never aired.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So I'm here with Luís Pavão. You were my first guest. And then I remember, this was 3 years ago when I was starting off the whole podcast thing.
Yeah.
And I still wasn't used to all the technology and all the stuff. And I think it was one of the cameras wasn't recording or the sound was, I don't know, something was going on. Yeah. And then we always kept on saying, okay, I need to get you back into the podcast. And you're like, okay, we'll get it next week. You're a busy guy.
Well,
and 3 years later we got you in here.
Yeah,
but
finally.
I think it's the perfect time because and we're gonna get into the whole the details of why it is a perfect time. But for you guys at home that don't know who Luís is the owner of Pavão Meats, or one of the owners, right?
Yes, one of the owners is a family operated business.
Exactly. So it's a family operated business. And interestingly enough, I think it's going to be a curious conversation because, we obviously have to bring in what's going on in the world and how it's affected your business as an example, and what you've, how you've been working to kind of like get around these issues and try to, continue having a business and continuing to go ahead with somewhat of a normal life because we all had to adapt.
Oh, right? Yeah, most definitely. I mean,
but before we get into that,
yeah, no problem.
Tell the people who you are, Luís. Where were you born? How did you end up here in Toronto? What's been your passion around the meat business? Like a little 2-second review of who you are.
If I go to all the details, they're going to be here all
No, just give us like a little footnote.
Basically, it's a third-generation business, okay? My grandfather started, which my dad took over, and me and my sister also followed.
Okay.
And
so we're talking about third generation. This is early 1970?
Earlier, I would say around 1950s.
1950s? Yeah, oh, geez.
My grandfather started a very small processing meat plant and a retail store back home in the Azores.
Okay, Azores, Portugal, all right.
Portugal, yeah. Where we're from. And, slowly increased the business and things started developing. And my dad, as a teenager, picked up on it. And he grew the business dramatically. Mm-hmm. And, he came to Canada back 1988, where me and my sister, Sandra, came with him.
Okay.
And then as we grew up through school, we started getting interested in the business, start working it, start learning it.
How was that? How was the whole coming to a new country, new language, new customs, new everything?
It was overwhelming.
How old were you?
I was 13 back then, and it was a big challenge. I didn't know the language. I didn't know. Everything was new. I mean, it was like starting over.
Yeah,
it was very overwhelming first year, second year. Yeah, I mean, as things progressed, went to school, started learning the language, things got better, which now we
And you were coming from a country, I mean, back then Portugal was still very, we're coming out of a dictatorship. It was, it was tough.
It was tough. It was, totally different than here and what we were used to and the way we were brought up. I mean, here was just a more modern, more developed country, more opportunities than we had. Even though my family was pretty successful already as it is back home in the business field. But it was my dad's dream to always come back to Canada as he was here as a young teenager.
Oh, so he was here before.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that part of the story.
There's a lot of stories, believe me. He'll be overwhelmed.
He was here before and then he thought,
my dad came to visit here, I believe with my grandfather, back in the 60s, and where he met my mom.
Okay.
And basically they start dating, and my mom got...
Oh, so they met here.
Yeah, they met here.
That's an interesting story. See, I'm learning stuff.
Yeah, mom got pregnant, and they decided to go back and, marry and start a life back there. Mm-hmm. And he loved it. I mean, he loved it so much here that I always heard him say, one day I'm going back to Canada. One day I'm going back because I love that country. It's a country full of opportunity. It's a beautiful country.
So he brought his knowledge. So one day he says, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna bring all this knowledge of what it is to run a business and in the meat industry and all of that. And he decided to come over here. How was, like, you were already a teenager, so you were involved in this whole transition already.
I mean, it's a family business. I was 13. I was still in school. But after school, I would make sure that I'd go around and help them. And it was a challenge for him, most definitely. Even though we had a lot of knowledge in the meat business and processing and all that. It was a new country, it was a new way, new rules and regulations. Everything was different. Even though back in Europe it was already pretty advanced in that industry. The industry of meat was pretty advanced. But it was basically, it had to start over here. And it was a struggle. I mean, it was pretty hard. We first came in '88. My dad and our family, we went to Cambridge, Ontario, which my dad then drove to Toronto, and he needed to to open a business, and he opened the first butcher shop down here in Toronto. And then I believe 2 years after, back in Cambridge, they allowed to have processing license then.
Okay.
And that's when he started processing and started opening another retail store up in Cambridge, and things just kind of rolled from there. And
you got your hands dirty in a way, right? You started working right away.
Yeah, well, listen, when you're a child of a businessman that's done all that his life, and your grandfather and the whole family is involved, and you kind of get involved even though if you don't want to. I mean, you just, you go out and help, and then one thing offsets the other, and then you start liking it. I mean, you pick up on things and you learn and you build on it, and then you start thinking, you know what, maybe this wouldn't be bad for me to do myself.
And did you get see, I don't know how this whole thing works. How do you get educated in how to cut things and how to prepare the meat the right way? Like, is there a specific education on this, or is it like passed on? How does this all work?
Well, it's very simple. I mean,
simple for you.
Yeah, well, after doing it all my life,
I can barely manage a barbecue, man.
Yeah. You know what? When everything's done with passion, and it's something that you like, right? I mean, you pick up on it, right? They say find something you like, and you never have to work another day in your life. The way of saying it.
Yeah.
But it's very true. I mean, how do you learn how to cut meat? First, you gotta like it. And then you learn the whole process from beginning to ending. And every cut has its own duties. Like a T-bone steak is for grilling, right? And inside is for cutlets. And every cut, hamburger or stew or frying or whatever, every cut has a meaning on a carcass.
Okay.
And one of the best ways to learn is from family, from people that have those little tricks and how to cut it and which way to cut it.
Is there any like any course, any school, or any place you can go to learn to do these things, or is it just?
I believe today there is. Today, as things evolved and more people want to get into this kind of industry, there's a course, I think, offering in George Brown College.
Okay.
It might seem very easy for somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
But if you never cut, there's got to be a certain way to cut that piece of meat and what it's for, right?
Well, I've seen you cut some meat there, and it's quite impressive. I think I would probably not have a couple of my fingers if I was cutting as fast as you do.
Yeah, well,
but it all comes down with practice, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, cutting a piece of meat for me today, it's as easy as you chewing a steak or something. It's very easy.
How long do you think it takes someone to learn the trade? Like, to be able to grab any piece of meat and do the right cut and all of that? How many years?
You know what? Sincerely, it depends on every individual.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe that there are very few butchers that are actually real professional butchers. Okay. One thing is just grabbing a cut of meat and cutting steak or cutting in cubes. One thing is grabbing a whole carcass from beginning to finish. When I say carcass, that could be a beef, a veal, pork, a chicken even. It takes a long time. Okay, it takes a long time. Why it takes a long time? Because is it for processing a ham or a Black Forest ham, say, or a salami? There's so much into it, and the reason why I say it's really, really hard to find a full professional butchers is because today a lot of the meat comes already pre-cut from big slaughter plants, so then you can cut it for the final use. Answering your question, it's up to every individual.
Yeah, I guess
it could take. I wouldn't say a good butcher it would take more than a year, most definitely, to know, how to handle a knife, how to figure out what kind of knife is for what.
So do you think, like when I look at the younger generation, I don't think this might be something that you see a lot of kids getting into. Is it going to be an issue in a few years from now?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, not a few years. It's already a huge, huge problem.
So you're having difficulty finding people?
Oh, geez, most definitely. We've been for quite some time. It's not a new problem. It's been for years now. I mean, it's getting almost impossible to get a butcher because a lot of people don't want to learn this trade.
Yeah.
It's a very dirty job. Okay,
it's not for everybody. I mean, we have to understand that, right?
A very cold environment. Okay, these are the bad side to it, but I mean, you learn to adapt to it, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, it is. You gotta like it,
and it's a fast-paced kind of thing too, right?
Like
I guess depending on the butcher shop, but
and depends what the end use is, right? I mean.
Well, but I guess it's for any of the younger people out there that are listening to us or watching us right now, it's probably a good thing to think about and get into because there's not a lot of competition. So
Listen,
it's good money to be made.
I always encourage young people to get involved in butchering and in the meat business, especially the food business. Okay. That's almost guaranteed that you will have work for the rest of your life.
You can't say that a lot nowadays.
Well, unfortunately, but one thing we got to do nowadays, we got to eat. I mean,
exactly. No, but
we
I'm
need
saying
our protein
But because of that, you don't hear it a lot, right? Because there's not a lot of other businesses or trades that you can get into that you can say, you know what, once you want to, take that leap of faith and go into that kind of business, you're going to have a job. This one you can say that because, like you're saying, there's not enough people out there.
There's not enough people that there's always work. Know the trade, like I said, and this is an excellent job for people that want to have a guaranteed job, let's say, for forever.
So now looking back at, from all the way from when this whole family tradition started to now, you've been adapting to the markets. To the times, times were different back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. Things were a lot different, now you're running your business in 2020. This year has most definitely been probably the most challenging one. Am I right?
Most definitely. I mean, this year it's been one of those years that no matter what happens, you could never be prepared for something like this.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was.
I'm 40-something years old. I've never heard of anything like it.
Yeah.
We're going through an experience like we're going today.
Yeah, but you sat down, like a lot of entrepreneurs did that. It's not about quitting. It's not about saying, you know what, now this came along and I'm just gonna quit and sit at home and do nothing. You gotta get up. You gotta adapt and you gotta make changes. And I've seen the changes that you've made in the last 6 months, even at your store. It's
dramatically,
it's been kind of crazy. What made you take that decision into, okay, you know what, I'm going to take this right front and center and I'm going to, make the changes I need to make in my business. I need to better my business. I need to add things to my business. I know we've been working on the website, on the e-commerce website that you have and all of that. I mean, what makes you get up in the morning and listen, just go for it?
Like I said, I love what I do. Okay, I want to continue what I do, and I believe that by staying at home and worrying and thinking always, oh, geez, what if, I go in and I get sick or my staff gets sick, and you got to think positive. You got to avoid, a situation like that. I mean, it doesn't mean it's not gonna happen, but you're going to give all your 100% to prevent that from happening.
You guys are taking all the precautions and all of that, right?
One of the biggest things we did right away was control the customer count in the store, take all the precautions that we needed.
Yeah.
As far as sanitization goes and face masks and all that stuff. We were really, really early on it because we thought, you know what, this is a big issue here. We got to protect our staff, our customers.
Yeah.
And then we started innovating which ways can we do to better our business to continue going, because as everything shut down, you're thinking what's going on, like
how are we going to get around this?
Yeah, right? I have so many fixed expenses every week. I have investments, and it's like, okay, everything stopped. What do I do now to keep going? Like, you got worried, you got overwhelmed, because I never experienced anything like this. I mean, business has up and downs. You have really high seasons, low seasons.
But this one was a kick in the butt for everybody.
No, this is like everything totally shut down, and people are panicking, and customers are coming in and they're buying as if it's Christmas time or Easter.
I know, the panic shopping, right? You got a lot of that too.
I never forget, early morning Friday, and we opened the store normally, and then, 5 customers came in, and then 10, and then 15, and then we were packed, and then we had a lineup outside. And then, it was just, I wasn't ready. I didn't have enough inventory. I didn't have enough staff. And then my staff panicked, and they're like, some of them said, you know what, I'm staying home because, I can't deal with this. It was just
the stress level that comes.
It was just ridiculous. The first, 2-3 weeks, I don't know how to deal with it, So we tried to.
I don't think most people knew how to deal with it. I think everybody was confused. Not that anybody's any clearer today of what's going on. We know what it is. Obviously, we know how much it's out there, but we still really don't know.
No, and I don't.
What to do in this situation? It's kind of hard.
Yeah, because you don't learn that in school. People that never went through experience like this, right?
Yeah.
So most important thing that I thought right away, with actually a big help of my wife. She's very, when it comes to safety, she's great on that. She helped us a lot on that. First thing here is health, right?
Yeah.
You don't have health, you can't do nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to prevent getting sick and everybody else. That was our first goal right away. Was, we went through an average 25 people, 30 people in the store a day. We cut it right away to 4 people. Okay?
Yeah.
So that created lineups as much as half a kilometer or even longer outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at least you were keeping people safe and your staff safe, right?
Well,
and that is the important
that was
part.
the whole idea, because I don't know how bad it was going to get, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you had employees coming in and they're crying, they're saying, "Sorry, Louis, but I'm leaving. I can't handle this. I'm scared."
Yeah.
I got kids at home. I said, I understand. If you feel that way,
what are you going to do, right?
That you cannot do, because I got to respect the decision of that employee as well, right?
Yeah.
But then I'm looking, okay, but how am I going to serve these people?
Now all of a sudden you look around and like, okay, I'm down 5 people. How am I going to do this?
It was overwhelming. There wasn't enough staff. There's too much commotion. It was just overwhelming. It was just, even the public itself, we serve quite a bit of older generation people, and
they didn't know how to deal with the situation.
No,
right?
They didn't understand why we wanted them to clean their hands every time they came in.
Yeah.
Why they have to have a mask on? Sorry, I love you as a customer. You're a good person, but you have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And they say, I don't understand. Well, it's to protect others and to protect you. And, it's like teaching the kids over and over and over. So it was overwhelming, that part of the public understanding, because we did it very early on. People are calling by hundreds. Oh, bring this home for me. Or can you bring that home for me? Can you... We weren't set up to accept that much business.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not going to say who, I think it was me, was always telling you need to get your website up, you need to get your things ready for, being able to sell online. Yeah. And it's interesting that, you're not the only one, and I'm not pointing fingers here, but when things are going well, things are going well.
Yeah.
And we don't, we know that things are going that way. Yeah. We know that, selling online or buying online or having things delivered or picked up. Yeah, we understand that was the thing. But all of a sudden, like from one day to the other, like, okay, we need to get things set up.
Yeah, well, you know, when you have the customers calling you, hundreds and hundreds of calls a day, like,
and you're just putting things down on a piece of paper, it's going to get chaotic.
And trying
quick.
To get to the customer exactly what they want and to be delivering fresh meats.
Because the other thing was also, and correct me if I'm wrong, like one thing is somebody going to your store and pointing to that piece of meat that they want because they see it.
Yeah, most definitely.
And the other thing is saying, oh, I want a piece of this kind of meat, but what they're saying isn't really what's in their head.
Yeah, well, it's
and then you're getting,
yeah.
I can only imagine how
That's
complicated
why, you know, we rushed and, with your help, you know, which
I have to say that was
overwhelming. It was I'd say a 6 months, 8 month project turned into 4 weeks.
We pulled that off in 4 weeks, which was kind of you know what? it was definitely not the time frame I would have given myself. It was a normal time, but I knew how much you needed that too. And we just said, okay, we got to get it done and all hands on deck, and we got it.
Yeah.
But, and I'm glad that everything is still going well and working well, but it was, you know, it was a big eye opener.
It was. Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was a big eye opening. It was great for the customers. Okay. It was great for our business, and it is still great, and it is going to be great many years to come.
Yeah, because doesn't it organize it as well, like from a product perspective?
Telling you the experience we've had, there's nothing but good compliments we've been getting. Great feedback from the customers. I'm not trying to sell this here, but I'd like people in general to experience the way we do things online.
Yeah.
Not saying that if you come in, you're going to get less service or less quality or less presentation as if you were to buy online, but the way we're preparing, okay, our online sales, meats, okay, it's so well packaged, so well presented. It's being delivered in refrigeration trucks. You're getting exactly what you're looking at, okay? As far as pricing goes, the quantities, variety,
but it must have been insane. Like I was dealing with, you know, getting the structure of the website put together and the products and the pictures and all of that. But logistically on the back end, I can only imagine what you and Liz and everybody else in there went through.
I mean, because we
in
were
such a short amount of time with
we were going through
everything else.
That's the thing, right? You know, I have to give credit to my wife, Liz. This is 100% her. If it wasn't, we would never make it in 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, there was so much.
I was calling Liz a lot every day.
Oh yeah. It was.
I bet you she was looking at the phone, going, "Oh my God, not him again, not Jamie." Oh,
yeah, it was overwhelming. There's so much work into it that you only actually realize it when you start doing it. To become as professional as it is, there was a lot of thinking, there was a lot of preparation,
and plus, you guys don't have only just the meat side of things. You guys have a lot of groceries, a lot of specific, specialized traditional Portuguese and Brazilian products and all of that stuff. Your website currently, I think, if I'm not mistaken, last time I looked at it, has over 800 products in that website. It's crazy the amount of products that you have there. So I can only imagine.
No, it was overwhelming. But it was a good experience. I hope I don't have to go through something like that anytime soon. But we got it working. We're really happy and pleased. We've had, and we do have such a great team behind us. You know, when you go online and you shop for a steak and whatever, any kind of our products online, you don't realize how much work there actually is behind getting that order ready for you. Yeah. And we have a great team, from management, from the delivery section to the preparation. We're just overwhelmed and pleased and thankful for the staff we have that makes this just excellent.
It's one of the most important parts for any company. We're just going to go into a small little commercial break. Talk a little bit about our sponsor, but when we come back, we're going to talk about what you've done with the place as well.
No problem.
All right.
Pleasure.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Workplace One, a company offering boutique private offices, co-working spaces, and virtual office solutions, as well as meeting rooms in the best neighborhoods of Toronto and Kitchener-Waterloo. Ideal for entrepreneurs, companies, and passionate business people. Workplace One is where you want to be with your business. For more information, go over to workplaceone.com. All right, so aside from the online, now you also decided to fix up the place and it looks amazing.
Well, thank you.
I'm going to make sure to have some images going on the YouTube side of things. Obviously, if you're just listening to us, hey, that's a good opportunity for you guys to go onto our channel and subscribe to the channel and check out the videos, because I'm going to have a whole bunch of images going on about the new place, because honestly, what you've done, I have to commend you. That place, it looks like a completely different butcher shop right now.
Yeah.
You had it looking basically the same way for years, for a long time.
Yeah, we've always tried to maintain the old image of...
I wouldn't say old. I would say traditional. No?
Traditional old image of a smokehouse ceiling.
I know you had those little the little ceiling inside. It looked very. I liked it. Tell you the truth.
It was very traditional.
Very traditional. It was. It felt homey.
Yes.
Now it feels like it's up to date. So
well,
I wouldn't say it's one was better than the other. I think they're just different. The concepts that you have going on.
Definitely.
But I think the way that you were able to change the place up now is quite impressive.
It's been, I'm telling you, I mean, it's been such a challenging between everything that we've been talking about. And on top of that, we decided, you know what, this is time, clean this place up. This is time to give it a new look. This is time.
And again, in record time.
It was just, it's been overwhelming, but we pulled it through. We're very proud of what we did. We thought it was time for a new look. We still kept traditional real butcher shop. 95% of our wholesales on our retail side is meat. And we try to maintain not the supermarket look. We want to sell you and cater to our retail customers what we're good at.
Yeah.
And what we specialize and we're good at is in processing sausages and deli meats and fresh local meat.
Yeah.
And I believe that more and more we need this market. I mean, we need to maintain this market.
Absolutely.
Because we offer such a great service to our customers that we have all the different kind of meats that we'll be able to butcher for you locally whenever you need it.
What I like about you guys there too, because I'm always in the store doing something, coming up with a new marketing thing or a design thing. But, as I'm looking around, what I love to see is how, that client that's been coming into your store for the last 20 years and she likes the beef cut a certain way, and you guys are able to provide that. And sometimes I think you already know how they want it.
Yeah. I mean,
that is what I find to be special.
You're dealing with these people day by day, every day for so many years, over 30-something years or just about 30 years that I've seen people on their 20s and 30s and 40s and
heck,
some of them
you've
50.
Probably seen them grow up, right?
Yeah,
going to your store.
Their kids and grandchildren been there so many years that, I mean, you already know what the person wants before they even ask you. But a lot of European customers, they're very specific in their cut. Okay? And if they don't like the thickness of the cutlet that's in the counter, we grab a piece inside and we'll cater to their needs. Or if they want it thinner or thicker. And that's a service that
you don't see much out there anymore.
Not anymore. That's the thing is, I think it's very important, okay, is when you go to a place and you go shop, you get what you want, not
what's there.
What's there.
Yeah.
And we believe that we like to serve people the way we like to be served. Okay, and we believe the customer is paying for that service. Okay, and we love providing that. We like to be different in that perspective because we love to have repeated business, and we've been getting a lot of repeating business over the years because we offer
that kind of service. And this is, I mean, obviously we're talking about your butcher shop, but this lesson that you just gave us right now is probably one of the most important things for any business is provide the service to your customers the way that you like to be provided
Simple
services
as that.
to. This is plain and simple. You know, I don't understand how things have gotten so complicated. People try to reinvent the wheel, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You need to be, you need to know who your clients are. And this goes out to, I mean, I have this conversation with a lot of my clients is, you know, even going now into the social media side of things, people are like, oh, I need to advertise like this. You still need to approach people, even through social media, the same way that you approach the person that comes into your store. It's the exact same way.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Because that person is going to value your time, the time that you spent responding to a message that they sent online, the same way that you're responding to the person that's in the store. And I feel that sometimes a lot of that is missed. And that's why, you know, oh, my business is going down the drain because I don't know what's going on. Well, you're probably missing that personalized aspect to your business.
You know, it's very simple to understand. Like, if you're in business, you're in business, and if you want to be in business, you got to be in it for the long haul, not for the short time.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'd love to get repeated business. I love to get compliments from my customers. I like to see
and referrals, because those clients are going to be happy.
I love to see my customers happy, and when they come up to me and they compliment, and my staff and everybody. Well, listen, I love coming here. The service is great. The meat was amazing. That makes my day.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel good because I know what I'm doing. I'm giving my best, and people are recognizing.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like to get a little bit of recognition on what they're doing? I love it. Makes me feel good. It makes me
it's a little
feel
reward, right?
I did my best to fulfill what the customer needs were.
And you guys are always kind of coming up with new either. The cuts you can't reinvent that, but your sausages, let's say, you're always coming up with a new recipe. You're always coming up with something new.
That's the thing, right? I mean, we try to be creative. We try to be different because we believe that people like trying new things. You know, we like to put a kick into, you know, different types of sausages, being pork, beef, or chicken.
You got some really good ones there, man.
Well, thank you.
That Toscana one is, I love that.
Yeah, that's actually been one of our top sellers for many years.
Oh, I love that sausage, man.
It's a really nice product. It goes great with beef. It's a good combination. It's a Brazilian style sausage. It's done extremely well for us.
Yeah, my son loves that one too.
Oh, does he like that? Great.
He's like a good fan of that.
Yeah, we always try. I mean, to have a lot of our meats already marinated. We're trying to make it easier for the customer. But
talk a little bit about that. Yeah, I know you've changed a little bit because you didn't used to have those kind of products ready for the client before, but you saw the change coming.
Oh yeah. We've seen that, you know, more and more people don't know how to marinate like their parents used to marinate, and more people also don't have the time. They don't want to grab something that's ready. You know, it's ready to cook. It's ready to prepare, and we try to eliminate that work and giving a great product with great taste. Okay. With a lot of family recipes that people love it, and they keep coming back.
It just makes it so much easier. They grab the packages, they get home.
You know, throw it in the oven or whatever way they want to cook it, and it's marinated. It's ready to go.
What are the challenges that when you're looking back, and let's start from all the way from the beginning up until now, some of the challenges that you've had throughout your business that you would probably advise anybody that's thinking about starting a business now, and let's put this whole COVID thing aside, in a normal world that, you know, someone is thinking, okay, I'm going to start my business. One piece of advice that you would tell them, you know, don't think too much about this, or don't do too much about this. Like, what is one thing that you've learned throughout your years of battling through it?
One of the things I learned myself, it took me, you know, a lot of years to actually realize that. And the secret is you never give up. Never, ever give up. You know, you're going to have great days, but you're going to have really bad days, and you're going to feel like, do I really still want to do this, you know? And you just got to push. You you just gotta. It's another day. You gotta keep going. You do your best, and sometimes your best is not enough, but you just keep going. I mean, there's no giving up. In business, if you want to succeed, doesn't matter as a family processing.
It's gonna get hard.
You gotta keep pushing. Okay, it's not easy. There's days that I ask myself still today, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But you know what? It is the fact of the way it is. A business, it takes time to grow it. You started from the bottom. You make yourself up, okay? But it never gets easier.
I can't say anything else. That was it. That was it. That was perfect. All right. Luís, it's been a pleasure having you here in the Creative Spin podcasts, learning about how you've been spinning your business lately with all this craziness that's going on in the world.
Well, thank you very much.
Very happy to be a part of this adventure as well, being able to be there, helping you out with all of the branding and all of the stuff that we've helped you out in the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a few years now, man.
It's been great. We've been doing
we do what we can, man. We do what we can. We try to be creative. That's what we do around here. It's a creative spin, creative 7. It's all about being creative.
You've been great. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm going to say thank you for being here.
Thanks for inviting me. It was a pleasure. Finally, we did it.
Finally, it only took us 3 years.
It's all good.
All right, Luís, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care, dude.
All right.